Have you ever just felt this deep, almost physical need to be alone? Not because you're mad at anyone, but just because. Well, it turns out it's not about being antisocial at all. Today, we're going to dive into the hidden architecture behind that need for solitude. And you might just find out it's one of your biggest strengths.
Okay, let me paint a picture for you. It's Friday night. Your phone is blowing up with texts and invites, but the only thing you really truly want to do is shut the door, maybe grab a book, and just be quiet. Sound familiar? And if it does, you've probably also felt that little nagging voice of guilt, right? The one that asks, what's wrong with me?
So where does that guilt even come from? Well, it's not coming from nowhere. It's actually a story that society tells us over and over again. So let's start right there. Let's tackle this antisocial stigma head on. I mean, think about it. From a young age, we're taught that being social is the ultimate goal, right? The more friends, the more parties, the more connections, that's what's celebrated. So it's really no surprise that when you genuinely need some time to yourself, you might start to believe that story, that maybe you're a little bit broken. And this is where we get this huge disconnect. On one hand, society slaps on these labels, lonely, broken, antisocial. But the reality, what's actually happening inside you, is something completely different. It's not about being lonely, it's about recharging. It's not a sign of being broken, it's your mind protecting itself. And it's definitely not being antisocial, it's being totally self-sufficient. But what if this whole thing isn't a personality flaw at all? What if it's actually a really smart, sophisticated biological response? Let's get into how your brain basically creates its own protective shield.
This, right here, is the big idea. That urge to retreat, to be alone, it isn't you failing at being social. It's actually your brain succeeding at one of its most important jobs, protecting your most valuable resources, like your mental energy and your focus.
So what is your brain protecting you from exactly? Well, a big one is this thing called unplanned closeness. You know the feeling? It's when you have to suddenly be socially on when you weren't ready for it, like when you run into someone at the grocery store and it turns into a 20-minute conversation. For a lot of us, that is just completely draining.
So when you look at it that way, your need for alone time is really just a biological defense system kicking in. It's your brain's way of saying, all right, that's enough noise, enough input for now. We need to shut down the external sensors and just process for a bit. And this brings us to a really powerful way to think about this. Instead of seeing solitude as an empty space where social life should be, what if we see it as something essential? What if we start thinking about it as fuel?
I love this because it completely flips the script. Solitude isn't an empty tank. It's the gas station. It's where you go to fill up, not because your car is broken, but because you need that premium high-octane fuel for the deep thinking and creating you're about to do.
So how does this refueling process actually work? Well, it's pretty simple. Step 1, you escape all the noise and constant stimulation from the outside world. Step 2, that quiet space lets your mind finally engage in deep thought, connecting ideas, solving problems. And then, Step 3, out of that deep thought, you generate brand new ideas and insights. It's like a creative factory, and the only thing it needs to run is a little bit of quiet.
Okay, so this brings up a really good question. How are some people so perfectly happy, even productive, when they're alone? The answer is a kind of inner superpower. It's called intrinsic stimulation. Intrinsic stimulation is really just your brain's amazing ability to entertain itself. You know, if your mind is already this rich, fascinating place full of ideas and questions and memories, you don't always need to go out to find something interesting. You've basically got an entire theme park right inside your own head.
Yeah, you can really think of stimulation in two ways. You've got the external kind, the stuff that comes from the world around us, parties, crowded malls, social events. But then you've got intrinsic stimulation, which comes from the inside. That's the engagement you feel when you're wrestling with a cool idea, getting totally lost in a hobby, or just letting your mind wander. And at the end of the day, having a brain that's good at this, that's not a social weakness at all. It's a sign of a really rich inner world. It means your brain is self-sufficient. It can generate its own fun, its own challenges, and its own rewards.
So the next time you feel that pull to just be alone, I want you to remember this. Your need for solitude isn't a bug in your system. It's a core feature. It's the very thing that allows your operating system to think deeply, to create freely, and to recharge. So maybe we should stop asking, why are you so antisocial, and start asking, hey, what amazing thing are you going to fuel with all that solitude?